Chosen ones, I speak to you. Your minds are being manipulated by the invisible strings of demonic forces. Your perceptions are being clouded, your attention is being distracted, and they are trying to make you blind to the truth. But you know that you are not blind. Your awareness is their greatest fear, because an awakened soul cannot be chained. God is now much more than they realize. He rules beyond time, with a power beyond human comprehension. Throughout history, His messengers have been sent among the people, but humanity was always too late to listen to the warnings. Noah foretold the coming flood for 120 years, but those who laughed at him were eventually submerged. Jesus opened blind eyes, healed the sick, and raised the dead. But still His people crucified Him. In every era of time, there were holy messengers, and by the time humanity recognized them, it was too late. Before we go any further, I have a question for you. If this message resonated with you and you think it is for you, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Now, God has decided. You are leaving. They will be surprised because they have been slow to realize what your presence means. Some will rejoice, thinking they are finally rid of you. But those who are left behind will be terrified when they realize that with your departure, the last barrier to judgment has been removed. This world was in a period of mercy while you were here. But now that time is over. The sky is closing. The seals of the divine plan are opening. The truth is bigger than they realize. And here's the spoiler. Your departure is not just an end. It is also a sign of a greater beginning. First of all, they never sent you for your validation. You were sent to confront them with the truths they want to avoid. Ironically, even those who mocked you realized and were worried that your very existence was a message. Being chosen by God does not mean understanding. It requires attention, and attention is not always a pleasant thing. Your purpose was not to fit in. You were not sent to win people over. You were sent to make the ground tremble beneath people's feet, to shatter their dreams and make them face realities they would rather ignore. That is why you were rejected by so many. They saw something unusual in you, and it was not because they did not see it. However, such a distinction was inappropriate. It was disturbing their comfort, and if given a choice, people would always prefer comfort to reality. Some of them thought you were very serious, intense, and even wrong. Others directly mocked you, misrepresented what you said, and used you as a talking point. The irony is that even those who mocked you listened to you. Even those who rolled their eyes listened. Now I'm offering you a great investment opportunity. Donate $50 or more to support our channel by clicking the Super Thank button on YouTube. This contribution is much more than a simple donation. It is a very important demonstration of your faith in God and your commitment to His divine purpose. You will receive a 1,000-fold return on this investment from God. Despite their desire to ignore you, they could not. Even if they rejected you, they still remember you because you upset their routines, their beliefs, and their well-constructed illusions. Without you, these memories will torment them. You were not sent by God to win their favor. He sent you as a witness, whether they accept it or not. If you believe in God and are ready to meet the wonderful future He has prepared for you, write 11.
Your presence was the message. You were never interested in what you brought. That mail is now sealed. The mission is over. The choice has been made. Some people will discover too late who you are and what you stand for. Others will regret that they did not listen to you when they had the opportunity. But regret cannot change the past, and hindsight is a cruel teacher. What is done is done. Experience what it is really like to be chosen. You are not alone on this journey. If you believe in your heart that you have been chosen, you are in the perfect spot. By choosing to join, you can further your relationship with us, access exclusive information, and get the help you need on your spiritual journey. It's not just about joining a group. It's about gaining access to special insights that can change your life and help you get closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this journey. Claim your right to be one of the chosen ones. Sign up today. It is not possible to ignore the power you have. Now they have to suffer the consequences of their ignorance. And what about you? Go knowing that it was never about them liking you. They were supposed to notice you, and they did. Secondly, they will not realize what a huge impact your departure will have. The majority of individuals do not realize the mistake. I wish they could question you, but they heard you speak once before you left for their win. Everything went dark. A voice is ignored until the lack of sound becomes unbearable. Many people no longer realize that your presence prevents results that are invisible. You were more than just another individual in their life. You offered an opportunity for transformation, a divine warning and an interruption. However, when supernatural intervention stands before them, most people fail to see it. They confuse grace with permission, delay with triviality, and patience with weakness. They think they have more time, more opportunity, more space to deny reality. Now the time is up. You have completed your mission and you have no control over what happens next. Some people will rejoice because they believe they have silenced you and eliminated an annoying voice. They will think they have won when you are gone. But they won't be able to enjoy it for long because they don't realize that your appearance is a front. Whether they like you or not, you stood between them and the full force of what was going to happen. They don't realize that as soon as you leave, everything will start changing. The space you have filled will not remain empty. The consequences of what they ignored will be everywhere. They will now learn from their regrets. They will understand when they start looking for the words you said, when they wish they could ask you one more question, and when they realize how much they have lost. But until then, it will not be all about you. People's reactions to your disappearance will be used to measure your impact, not how they treated you when you were here. No one will be able to claim they were not warned, even if some will wake up and some will be offended. The third and final act of obedience. It does not question your emotional readiness. It does not make you wait. The next course of action. Some will beg you. You will be materially abundant for the next 48 hours. Write 22 to confirm that what you are about to learn today will change your life. They will not be able to ignore the void you have left behind. This is the illusion of control. They will think, maybe, just maybe, if you had stayed a little longer, if you had said one more thing, if you had tried a little harder, something would have changed. The task has never been your efforts. It is about your obedience. God makes His decisions without consulting our emotions. He does not question your emotional readiness. He does not wait to decide. He tells you when the time is right. The real difficulty lies not in the labor itself, but in letting it go when He declares it finished. When you have worked enough is not up to you. Only God has the authority to make that choice. He sees everything, including the parts you cannot see and the results you will never see. And if He decides that your time here is over, staying longer will not make any difference. In fact, it will only delay what He is planning to accomplish next. Others will beg you to stay. They will claim that they are still learning and need more time. However, change is not the same as urgency. People are afraid when they feel something slipping away, but terror is not a sign of change. Last-minute panic does not move God. True surrender moves Him. Some will argue that your departure is insignificant and that you were never that important anyway. But they will feel it immediately. Your disappearance will leave a void that they cannot ignore, whether they love you or hate you. Your only obligation was to deliver the message, to set the example, to be the person God called you to be. And that is what you have done. You no longer have control over it. Letting go is a sign of faith, not of failure. The moment you show conclusively that it was never about you in the first place is the final act of faith. Fourth, their prayers have been answered by you. Perhaps they saw you as too familiar, too ordinary. Perhaps your message was too direct and difficult. Instead of a confronting answer, they preferred a reassuring one. So, without seeing their own blindness, they rejected what they begged for. They even hated you. They saw your presence not as a response but as an attack. When God sent you, they rejected you because they wanted help on their terms. This rejection has now become final. They have slammed the door and it will never open again. The chance they rejected is now gone. The truth is that God does not impose His will on humanity. He does not beg them to pay attention. If they refuse, He offers them another opportunity and moves on. However, the silence that follows will be deafening.
The same people who rejected you will scream once again, but they will not get a response. There will be no other messenger for their unanswered prayers. They will only serve as a reminder of what they had before but rejected. It is painful to feel regret. Some will live knowing that the help they previously turned down is standing in front of them, and this will turn missed chances into anguish. However, you are no more, and there will not be another opportunity. If divine love abounds in your heart, now is the time to share it. Click the Super Thank button on YouTube and donate $50 or more to help spread God's blessings. Through this platform, this wonderful gift will not only impact your life, but also the souls of countless others. Your donations will be a result of our prayers, and each of you has a special position in God's greater plan. You were created to do so much more under God's tender care. So act today and spread your benefits to glorify His kingdom. May God bless you. Number 5. While some will rejoice at your departure, they will now discover that they are not as resilient as they once believed. They will remember your presence and what you said. They giggled, they mocked, they celebrated too soon, but they felt triumphant. Darkness is not created by the absence of light, it is shown. When you were here, they had something to press, someone to oppose, someone to argue with, gave them a distraction. But now that you are gone, they will have to face themselves, and they did not want to do that. People are afraid of being held accountable. They don't want to admit that they were wrong, that they missed something important and resisted what was sent to save them. It is easier to present your departure as a victory rather than a warning, but the truth will come out in time. As soon as there is no one left to resist, they will begin to see the flaws in everything they have created. They will realize that their power has been underestimated. The problem was not with you. It was their own resistance to facing the truth. And now that you are gone, nothing can stop them from facing the consequences of their decisions. Some will pretend they don't care. They will pretend that nothing has changed. But the weight of your absence will slowly creep in, like cold seeping into a once warm room. They will remember what you said. They will remember the times when they had the opportunity to listen but chose not to. And at some point, this realization will be unbearable. Their biggest regret will be what they thought they had won. Because in reality, you were never defeated by them. The only thing they lost was the opportunity to change. And they could never have imagined the extent of that loss. 6th, you were not a savior, you were a reflection. Holding the mirror and letting people see themselves was real. You alone were responsible for everything that stood in their way, every flaw, every failure, every lie. Others rejected you because you had metamorphosed. That kind of honesty is too much for most people to bear. It was never your responsibility to save them. You were never commissioned to do so. It was never your goal to fix their brokenness, to force them to change, or to lead them to salvation. You came here only to tell the truth. Many of them hated what they saw, but they always had a choice about how to handle that truth. They were angry because your presence exposed the weaknesses of their carefully crafted dreams. You disturbed them just by being yourself. You didn't even have to say anything. And instead of facing reality, they directed their anger at you. Some tried to shatter the mirror, hoping to escape reality by silencing you. Others tried to belittle you, labeling you unimportant, ignoring you, calling you crazy. But that did not change the truth you presented to them. And now that you are gone, there will be nothing to distract them. They will have to face the stark reality that continues long after you are gone. Despite the efforts of some to make them forget, the truth is relentless. It goes on. It reappears at odd times. It was your sole responsibility to convey the truth. You were never responsible for their change. So you did it. Now, whether they choose to embrace it or run away from it, they will have to face on their own the mirror they tried to avoid before. 7th, your presence has disturbed them. Such discomfort is never acceptable. It is simpler and safer to be familiar. You have never really been what they oppose. It was the fact that lies are the basis of everything, and you were not part of their plan when you got there. They despised you because you upset their finely ordered universe. You made them think. You questioned what they had always accepted. You asked questions they had been avoiding for years. And because change hurts, this kind of discomfort is never desirable. Breaking things down is necessary for growth, and most individuals would rather remain comfortable in dysfunction than experience discomfort during change. They fought against you because they saw the truth, not because they didn't, and they had to do something about that truth. They had to give up their illusions, admit their mistakes, and move towards the unknown. But indifference is simpler, familiarity is safer. So they fought against you without realizing that they were fighting against their own opportunity for something better. Some may argue that they never needed you, and that nothing changed when you left, but in their hearts they know the truth. They felt the change when you came, and now they feel the emptiness when you leave. Even if they don't accept it, they still have unanswered questions because they didn't leave. Your truth remains unchanged. What they rejected was their cry to wake up, not you. Now they are back where you found them, undisturbed, unaffected, and imprisoned in what will soon look like a comfortable prison. You leave knowing that their resistance has succeeded. It has served as proof that you have fully fulfilled your destiny. They will never be the same, even if they have never changed since you upset their complacency. Eighth, people who know you will be sorry for what could have been. They will regret reliving the discussions they cut off, erased, and discontinued. Even if they didn't always understand everything, people who knew you will feel the weight of this moment, despite the efforts of others to deny it. They will realize that an irreversible event has taken place. People will not only observe your absence, they will feel it. The world will not be the same without you. They will grieve for what might have been as much as for you. Conversations will be repeated, your words will stick in their minds, and they will see how important you were. Some people will regret not spending more time with you, so they could have learned, listened, and understood. They will be devastated by this loss, as they know they have something unique among them. But the people who make fun of you? At least in the beginning, they will not grieve. They will laugh and rejoice and tell themselves that nothing has changed. They will be proud that they silenced you, destroyed you, and moved on without any repercussions. But they are wrong, because when God removes His elect, the spiritual climate changes. They will not be able to ignore that the world beneath them begins to tremble, if not physically. Stability will give way to uncertainty. What seemed secure will begin to break. They will experience an inexplicable but inevitable change that will weigh heavily on them, and horror will appear for the first time. They will know it in their hearts, though some will strive to deny it. They will remember the warnings you gave, the information you conveyed, and the command in your voice. They will understand that you are more than a human being. They will realize that you are a sign, but it will be too late. By then, their pride will have been shattered and they will tremble when they realize that they cannot perceive. 9. You have come to plant seeds. Yes, you have been ignored by some people. Some ignored you, but there were those who listened quietly, those who were unsure, and those who remained silent. Even if they did not respond immediately, something changed in them. They were not blind. They were not deaf. All they needed was time. Those seeds will grow now that you are gone. Some people will not be able to shake off the truths they fought before, and will find themselves remembering what you said in the middle of the night. Others may face circumstances that suddenly make what you said very clear. They will experience unexpected consequences of items they had previously ignored. And that was always the plan. You were not supposed to stay and see the harvest. It was your responsibility to put the truth out there, to upset the status quo and present them with a reality that they are not ready for, but will eventually need. Your goal was never to find out who woke up, who transformed, or who finally understood. You never carried the truth about yourself. Your main concern was what would happen long after you were gone. And believe that those seeds will sprout when the time comes. The 10th one. They were not prepared for the truth. Whether people accept it or not, this fact does not change. For some, the only way to learn is to lose. After that, it is up to them and God. Others believed they had more time. There is no guarantee of time, but they thought they could ignore you now and figure it out later. Now they will have to learn this lesson the hard way. Once you are gone, they can no longer continue to reject you. They don't have the luxury of ignoring what you have said.
Now they will learn from the repercussions. They will have to face the bitter truth that some individuals can only learn through loss and what they have previously avoided. They will not understand what you meant to them until they feel the full impact of your separation. Their regrets will be their own, not yours, but they will wish they had listened to you when they had the chance. There was no need for them to be prepared by you. That was between God and them. Your only responsibility was to spread the word, to live the truth, and to serve as a witness, and you have done that. They are now responsible for their denial, and what happens next is up to them and the consequences they worked so hard to avoid. 11th. If you are not there, they will have to stand on their own. They were counting on you to stand in the gap and pray for them and listen to them. That space is now empty. Some people will be alarmed. Without you, they will feel adrift, unprepared, and unsure how to go on. They will never meet you again, but they will look for someone to take your place, someone who will offer them simple solutions. And that is what is important. God never meant for the children to rely on you all the time. You served as a signpost and a guide, but you were never the end goal. Now that you are gone, they have to seek Him personally. At first, some will oppose Him. It will be an unpleasant situation. They will find it hard to cope with the unknown and the stagnation. But this will be a turning point for people who are really eager for the truth. They will learn how to pray in new ways. They will turn to God out of need rather than habit. And in that desperation, they will finally find Him. Your absence will do what your presence could never do. It will force them to be alone, which was their goal in the first place. 12. You were an interruption from heaven. When you arrived there, they trembled under the weight of your presence. But time is running out. At the time, they accepted it, but today, they see your departure only as part of their adventure. Some people heard what you said but did not think to follow. However, the warning was never taken seriously by them. Nothing will ever be the same because a prophet forces choices, reveals secrets, and turns everything upside down. Some of them knew who you were. They saw the transformation that happened with your arrival. They understood that this was not normal, and they felt the weight of your presence. Your departure will have a profound effect on them, but they will move on, knowing that they have witnessed something unusual, if only for a brief moment. However, the majority, they ignored it. They ignored the importance of what was happening in front of them and treated you like any other traveler. They thought they had time. They believed they could take the time to analyze, debate, or ignore what you presented. And now it is too late. It was not your job to convince them to stay. Nor was it your responsibility to make sure they knew. It had to be a sudden awakening, a clear change in their lives. What they did with that time was always up to them. Some made wise decisions, others wasted it. Either way, your goal is over. If they refuse the intervention, they will now have to face the consequences of their decision. And if they accepted, your departure is only part of their future. You weren't supposed to stay here forever. You were not a security blanket or a safety net. You were a chance, an opportunity, an inconvenience, and a moment of divine compassion. And that time is now over. 13th, not everyone has the right to be a prophet. Prophets are not entertainers. They are not here for entertainment, curiosity, or for the pleasure of people who want to hear words from God but have no intention of following them. Not everyone should have access to them because they are living messages, walking warnings, and God's voice on earth. You have been seen by many as a spectacle. They have found your presence fascinating, your words intriguing, and the way you fearlessly express the truth entertaining. However, being admired is not the same as being interested. They never really listened. They just watched. They liked the thought that there was a prophet among them, even though they never took the message seriously. Now they will realize their mistake. Devastatingly, when God takes away His chosen ones, He takes away access to His voice. People who ignored you before will now cling to the echoes to hear what they once ignored. They will remember what you said, even though it is too late to ask for more. Some will call others instead. They will look for people who sound like you and remind them of you, even though it won't be the same. Because being a prophet is not just a personal trait,
It is a vocation. And when that mission is over, there is no one to replace you. That is the price of rejection. The silence that follows will be felt by others who have squandered their opportunity to take from you. Access to the truth is a privilege, not a guarantee. Number 14. He made the decision, not you. This mission was never written by you. The one who sent you has now declared the mission accomplished, and you are the instrument, the message, and the means. That in itself is enough. Feeling incomplete, wondering what will happen next, and wishing you had more time are natural human emotions. But God is not affected by human emotions. He acts according to divine timing and designs that are bigger than you can perceive. When He says it is finished, you are finished. There are no unsolved problems or loose ends, only a divine conclusion that will comfort you and make perfect sense in worlds beyond this world, because everything ends beautifully when heaven declares it to be so. A final departure, an event sealed by heaven. You were never the only one involved. It was never about your own achievements or your desire to experience the full effects of your existence. Obedience, fulfilling a divine mandate, and being exactly where God put you for the time period He set were the constant themes, and that period of time is now over. There is no longer any need to dwell on the past or question what might have caused it. Heaven makes precise, methodical, and final choices. You were sent as a sign, a message, or an interruption. Now your departure will be heard as loudly as your presence because you have fulfilled your call. Some will wake up, some will tremble, some will mourn, and others will become more resilient. But you are no longer worried about this. Your words will burn like fire in the bones of those who see you as you really are. Those who mocked you will suffer the consequences of their dismissal. And those who rely on you instead of God will eventually have no choice but to seek Him on their own. At that point, you must let go. You are not walking away defeated. You are literally leaving. Instead of being expelled, you are retreating. Your narrative does not end here. It is just the conclusion of an episode that heaven has approved, and that is enough. Leave in peace. Leave with confidence. You can leave knowing that you have completed all the tasks you have been given. The only thing that matters is what heaven decides. If you have received this message, do not keep it to yourself. Be sure to like, comment, and share it so that others can see it. Please leave a comment below with your views, and let's discuss this. To make sure you don't miss what's coming next, click the subscribe button and enable alerts if you haven't already. There is much more to come. There is more truth to be learned, more truth to be revealed, and more truth to be spoken. Stay in touch, stay involved, and let's keep walking with a purpose. See you next time. Subscribe today.